when you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. What kind of feeling?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Granny's Peach Tea, and we're hooked on that Sunday night feeling here for our latest episode 109. For those keeping track,
109, man. We're barreling toward 200.
working our way there. But yeah, thanks for joining us on this Sunday evening. We always appreciate it. If you're checking us out on the Facebook live stream, or if you're checking us out on YouTube, or Twitter, or Instagram, or wherever you found your audio on the podcast, we always appreciate the support. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff lined up for tonight. Not really a long list, but two really interesting things to talk about. A little lighter than usual, but we got Titan Season 4, Episode 9, and we will be getting our countdown of Guardians of the Galaxy because we're super excited for Volume 3. So we figured what we usually do, well, let's take a look at the first two movies leading up to it. So tonight we'll be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. And Jason had mentioned, it was a really tough week to pick a song because this is one of the greatest comic book movie soundtracks ever.
I was watching this yesterday, and every time a song came on, I'm like, man, I dig this. I work with a woman who at school where whenever she's having a bad day, she goes into the lounge on her break and she plays the soundtrack.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cheers,
nice. It does. This movie, we'll get to it more when we talk about the movie itself, but man, it's just, you can be hooked on a feeling with this whole movie, man. Like, it just had I was like smiling ear to ear for like 2 hours straight.
It's a fun movie, man. I can't wait to talk about it.
No, for sure. I'm Ed, if those who are new to the show are not aware, and with me as always is Jason. Jason, what's up, man?
Good to be here. Good to be talking Titans and talking Guardians. I have no communique from Westeros this week because I got sucked into video games this week.
Okay.
I was back to work after my break, playing a lot of video games, playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night for any of you retro gamers out there.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do have is this, right? So I did start deep diving because this is who I am, right? The reason I put together Double O Deep Dive is because I become obsessive about things. And I have been deep diving all of ancient Roman history from its inception to its fall. And that was a direct result of me watching Rome for HBO, which was, of course, a bit I did for the show. So I'm gonna share a couple of interesting tidbits of history with everyone about the Romans, the ancient Romans. So first off, ancient Romans loved graffiti. They were always writing graffiti, at like pornographic graffiti all over the place, right? Loved it. Tidbit number 2. Well into the empire's reign with an emperor, because it was a republic for a while, then it was overthrown, became an emperor. The Praetorian Guard, which was essentially the Roman army, made it a habit of murdering emperors they didn't like. And one time, and thankfully the senators didn't allow this to happen and was violent about it, one time murdered the emperor and then auctioned off the emperorship. They said, we can appoint who we want. Pay us and we'll make you emperor. And so like someone paid them a shit ton of sesterces, it was called at that time, to become emperor. And he was assassinated within a half an hour of becoming emperor by the Senate. We're like, fuck you, you cannot sell emperorship of our country or our city or empire over this jerk off.
Can you imagine if we had that now? Like, I mean, does that mean like Jeff Bezos or like Elon Musk would be running the country or some shit like that?
Right, yeah. Imagine if the military did not have a commander and they were only in it for their self-interest, and they went, you know what, we're going to kill Sleepy Joe Biden, and who wants it? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, who's going to give me more? Like, yeah, that's exactly what it would be like. That would be insane.
Wow. Yeah, that would be pretty bonkers. Damn it! I was curious to know where the heck you were going with Westeros this week. I'm not gonna lie. There was a part of me that was curious about this.
I know. I fell off. Like I didn't watch much. I'm still in this. I've got maybe one episode after. I mean, look, I'm high. I'm still high off the death of King Joffrey. I'm still loving Lord Baelish. The last thing I did see was Lord Baelish kills one of the few remaining Starks, the Ant. And what's her face? The oldest Stark girl covers for him, which that was a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I'm loving Clegane and Arya Stark's like their relationship. Like, I don't mean relationship, but like them together. Like the fact that like she hates him but doesn't, and he kind of likes her but doesn't want to admit it. He's training her, and then he brings her to her aunt's house, and they find out she's dead, and they just look at each other and both start laughing. I'm like, I'm really into like where their storyline is going.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see next week, because I mean we have quite a lot on our plate.
We do
for the next couple of weeks, actually, because CW and stuff. But yeah,
but I will have a short report from Westeros next week. I promise. Just a short one.
Fair enough. All right, so before we jump into it, just to let you know, during this broadcast, you can go ahead and support our page by sending us stars, a digital gift that helps us earn money. So, you can keep coming, hanging out with us and chatting comic book movies and TV shows and stuff like that, or video game stuff, whatever it is we're talking about, and the rest of the network. So be sure to go ahead and check that out.
Please send it, because if we don't make a certain amount, Farachi doesn't feed us. Yeah,
it's true. I mean, last week was rough. I mean, remember, we were starving for like 3 days.
Yeah. No. He just threw us some moldy bread and he said, "You got 1 star. 1 star buys you moldy bread." So, send those stars, man. We got to eat.
Please. All right, let's just go ahead and jump into it. So it's weird to say this, but our show of the week is Titans Season 4, Episode 9. And I'm going to drop down a spoiler warning here, because it did drop on HBO Max, soon to be Max only.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
Whatever.
I don't know. I feel like I've been calling it Max anyway. But yeah, that'll be happening next month. So some spoilers just in case you haven't seen it. So if you have not seen Titans yet, join us another time. But if you have seen Titans, we're about to spoil the living shit out of it. So
that's right.
So I guess this episode answers the question of what the heck happened to Gar and what the hell has he been up to this season so far, because he's been gone for a little while.
This is an exclusive Beast Boy episode for the most part, and it gives us we know what Gar's been up to.
Yeah, so we apparently find out that Gar and that random dude who is Freedom Beast went ahead and took him to a place called the Red, and it's basically a multiversal like space that is connected to all living animals across everything, everywhere. So that's essentially where he's been. So he's a multiversal, protector, which we find out during the episode that his job is, this guy Freedom Beast, his job is to be the protector of it, and he wants Beast Boy to pretty much take it over, saying that this is your right and everything, that you need to sever all ties to any kind of relationships that you've had before, but also you need to help me with this situation I got going on here, because apparently he's on Mount, or at least where we find out that he's not actually there, but he was on Mount Kilimanjaro, and there's this facility nearby where there was experiments going on live animals, which is completely horrific, and that was really messed up when you heard about that. So they were testing to go ahead and find the various cures for things. And the twist to this is that it's Niles Caulder, his facility. So we just find out some more fucked up shit about Niles Caulder. Good.
That guy's the devil, man. I mean, I liked him when he was on the show, but he's the devil, because there's a whole thing where in the beginning where Beast Boy is talking to this guy about the disease that changed him but killed his family. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, Niles Caulder helped me. He protected me. He saved me. And this is all revealed to him that, no, Niles Caulder is the one who got you sick and killed your family, and you were a test subject.
Yeah, for the Doom Patrol, which we find out he's done that to every member of the Doom Patrol, even though Beast Boy's been away from them for a little while. But yeah, you were part of that, dude. He didn't save you either. Like, he did fucked up shit to every single one of them, which is why they have this extremely complicated relationship for them, with him. And that's, that's most of the gist of the episode. But the episode gets really crazy when he's in the red and he sees other universes. So he sees Grant Gustin's Flash, which I'm pretty sure that footage was from season 1 of the Flash.
Oh, they didn't film that for this? They just took it from...
No, that was a clip from there because he doesn't actually interact with him. So I guess they figured, screw it. What's the point? But he does interact with Brett Bassinger's Stargirl, who's in this, and yeah, we did talk about that with Stargirl and Titans before, but apparently, Jason, me and you both completely like spazzed on this and totally forgot that this was a thing. But yeah, we get a Titans Stargirl crossover in this,
which I thought was awesome, man. It was good to see her back in the Stars and Stripes. I love that actress. I love Stargirl. I thought that was such a fun show. And seeing her interact with Gar and their interaction of like, when he starts talking to the Red, okay, send me to my family, and she's like, who are you talking to?
And they mixed in like the Stargirl theme and stuff like that during that whole scene that was there. He also sees Zach Levi as Shazam, which that was footage from the first Shazam movie towards the ending battle. So there was that as well. He sees Gar, Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go on TV in one other aspect of it. And he also sees Grant Morrison. And he kind of has a brief interaction with him. And he posts Jason, I don't know if you know, though, but there was a post-credit scene to this episode.
Oh, no, I didn't know, because there usually isn't, so I didn't stay.
Yeah, so no, I usually fast-forward it because I try to make sure I get my episode pushed to the next one. Otherwise, sometimes it lingers and it tries to queue you up for that episode. But we'll get to the post-credit scene in a second. But there's also a thank you and loving memory of Grant Morrison, who had passed away. So that was also a nice little nod that was there, too. But yeah, he's trying to go ahead and get back to the Titans throughout the episode, and at the end of the episode, he interacts also with Cyborg from Doom Patrol. So he's he's there, and then Cyborg is calling for Cliff, who we don't see, and that's where the episode ends. I mean, there's stuff that happens in the episode, but I guess this is the gist of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, look, the episode is they go through this whole like to save the monkeys that were being experimented on, and it's an anthrax thing, and then they wind up fusing the sadistic doctor with the monkey. But I mean, and then it didn't really happen. It was only a memory to teach the lesson about Niles Calder. But I mean, that's it. That's the episode. So like, it's not very meaty, but there is a lot going on. And I think it's interesting that he gets sent to the Doom Patrol because what he says is, "Bring me to my family," thinking that it's going to bring him to the Titans. But if anyone remembers, first season of the Titans, or anyone who's been watching the show knows that Beast Boy came from Doom Patrol. Like, that's how Doom Patrol was introduced, is in the Beast Boy episode. So, I think it's interesting that this is this is also his family, right? Because the Doom Patrol, that's another. It's like Titans in the sense that they are a fucked up family.
Yeah,
they are a family. So, I think it's interesting that the Red brought him there when he said, "Bring me to my family."
And I'm fascinated about episode 10 to see where the hell this picks up. I mean, are we like gonna get another Doom Patrol like proper crossover with Titans? Because I mean, the Titans are also dealing with some shit now too. Are we going to see more of the Doom Patrol in the next episode? Is this going to be acknowledged in Doom Patrol because they need to get their second half of their final season going as well? A lot of possibilities this sets up.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And you know what I'm starting to think less and less? I'm starting to think less and less we're going to get a Constantine, because we heard a lot about Constantine in that first start of the season, but now it looks like we're going different places. So, that's something I think that might be off the table, but I am very interested to see what is on the table, because they have opened up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, and this is, well, I guess with a multiversal thing, that also could be tied to Constantine as well. And I thought this would have been a perfect episode for him to see Matt Ryan's Constantine, perhaps.
Right. And that's why I'm saying I don't think we're going to get him, because I think if we were, we would have seen him here. We would have seen him in the red.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, that was, that's essentially the gist of it. But like you said, not a super, like describe like a meaty episode to go ahead and to break down. But there's crazy shit that happens in this episode. But it's it's kind of straight to the point with this. We also did learn too, another interesting fact was, so the reason why Gar can turn into green animals is because green is his favorite color.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I thought that was a pretty interesting explanation as well. I was like, oh, okay, that's it. That's
Why not? Why not? Hey, look, it's not like he's the first person to have a color thing, Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's not like he was like Hal Jordan's like, or John Stewart's like, I am the Green Lantern because it's like my favorite color, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, that'd be kind of goofy. So, all right, I guess we'll see what happens with Titans next week, but definitely another quality episode. As they wrap up, only 3 more left, man. That's pretty much it.
Man. I'm gonna miss it. I really like this show. I really like this Dick Grayson a lot. I mean, I like them all, but like he's like my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. I think I might, when this is over in my morning for the show, I might go back and watch season 3 again.
Yeah, season 3 was a lot of fun, man. It really was, and especially for us Batman centric fans.
Season 3 is to this date my favorite television comic book stuff.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I can't think of anything I like better, because it's the closest thing I'm ever going to get to like a proper Batman show. I mean, it wasn't Batman, but it was Batman enough. We had Bruce Wayne. I mean, that's all I ask.
Oh, you know something? Now that I'm thinking of it, there was in the red, there is another voice that's heard. We do hear Harley Quinn.
Oh, that's right. We do. How did we not do that from the cartoon?
Yeah, it was because we didn't visually see her. But
right, but we did
from the
hear
Harley
her,
Quinn show. They did mention. Oh, and Swamp Thing as well. So my apologies; those two skipped over my mind. Swamp Thing's that's there. I was not a huge fan at all of that one season of Swamp Thing that they did. Just not great. But he does see Swamp Thing briefly. I'm sure that was old footage as well. They weren't going to waste money on that. And the voice of Harley Quinn.
You don't think they called Thing? You don't think they were like, Swamp Thing? Can we? I know you're busy in the swamp, but can we get you out for a shoot? No, what do you go fuck me? I didn't cancel your show. Come on. You don't think they called the actor?
Yeah, I'm hoping that was just a quick nod to like, hey, we all started on the DC Universe app together. Swamp Thing, Titans, Doom Patrol, and Stargirl. Those were the shows, and Harley Quinn. So they all get referenced.
That's a good point, and I guess Flash, because it's like.
Well,
I mean, it is at this point. It's the grandfather,
Yeah, Greg Berlanti is the producer on all of this shit. So I mean, it falls under him. So the post-credit scene, for those, if tune in, make sure you hang around for the post-credit scene. It's not necessarily significant, but it is pretty much Cyborg eating waffles.
I'm gonna go.
He has like a waffle in his mouth, and he's just like dangling. He's just happy. He's like,
that's awesome.
So that's the post-credit scene. So it's nothing like super heavy or anything like that. But yeah, I tend to fast forward through just so I know the new episode is queued up and I don't have to like dilly-dally with it. So yeah, I inadvertently see if there's a post-credit scene. I'm not really looking for one because, like you said, Titans rarely ever, next to never, has a post-credit scene.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't even look.
Yeah. So. All right, and that will, it feels weird, but that will bring us to our movie of the week. We just usually have a much more of a fuller plate. So we are super excited.
Usually we've gone through bashing Gotham Knights. We've gone through rolling the dice on the Flash. We've gone through filleting Superman and Lois. We're missing out on all 3 of those parts here.
Yeah, it's strange, man. And just thinking about it, like, wow, we did a couple 3-hour episodes, and this might challenge our probably our shortest one. So we'll see. Depending if you're down for some short servings of Granny's peach tea, then this is the episode for you.
It's not the how tall the glass is, how potent the tea is.
Well put. Well put. All right, so yeah, so we like we usually do, we count down to the new movies that are coming out in comic books and video games too. So we take a look back at the previous one. So this week and next week we will be looking at Guardians of the Galaxy because we got Volume 3 coming out in a couple of weeks. And we covered the holiday special, so if you want to go check out that previous episode, it's on our YouTube. You can check it under our playlist. So that'll cover all aspects of Guardians of the Galaxy. And we did also cover the I Am Groot animated show. That was for like 3-minute snippets or whatever. But this was the OG, man. This was the show that the movie that this was the first swing at the fences, or I want to say riskiest thing Kevin Feige and the MCU did at the time when this released, because nobody knew really squat about, I mean, mainstream at least, for Guardians of the Galaxy. And
I had no idea who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, except for Rocket. I knew who Rocket Raccoon was, but that was it.
Like, I admittedly vaguely remember Drax and Gamora from Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War, but they look
right, yeah, they are in that.
They're drastically different characters, though, like than what we get here. But I do remember when they had the big announcement of the MCU, you know, pretty much phases, the map going forward, and this one stuck out to me only because I was like, and I kind of felt like the people on Xandar, like, who the fuck are these guys? And I was like, and then Marvel, smartly enough, I'm pretty sure they're like, you know something, some people might actually do this, and they lined it up where they were relaunching the comic at the time, the title.
Smart.
And I found it, and I'm like, you know something, I'm going to read this. I read Guardians of the Galaxy for like 2 or 3 years. Like,
that's right. You did tell me that. Yeah, you did tell me that.
I did, because I was like, you know something, screw it. I'm going to learn about these guys and find out what the hell this is about, because why are they important to this at all? I mean, I was just like so kind of dumbfounded, and I loved it. I loved what I read. And in the first couple of issues of that run and again, smart. They had to have been aiming strictly for people jumping into the MCU at this point, because Tony Stark is in the first couple of issues, and he sleeps with Gamora. And he has this whole thing, and then she's just kind of like, you know, gets away from him and stuff. And Rocket's just like, dude, she'll kill you. Like, she will literally kill you if you try to mess with her. Like just let it go. That's it. Like, whatever happened. That's it. There's no more speaking about it. End of story. And that's that. So I thought that was an interesting thing that they threw Tony Stark in there, because, you know, again, MCU thing. But it was a lot of fun. And when I had read that and knew about the Guardians, I was extra excited for this movie to come out, because I'm like, you know something, man? People are going to fucking love this shit. I'm loving this shit. And it felt like I was the only person on the planet who knew this secret and was waiting for everyone else to discover it. It was strange. It was strange. Yeah, and it was a huge hit. I was not surprised whatsoever, even though, you know, this does take some liberties with it. But this is basically the team that was in that run of Guardians of the Galaxy. And there were Guardians of the Galaxy way before that. I'm pretty sure that I remember they started in the 60s, and it was a very, very different team.
It was very different. Like, actually, Drax's original origin was Thanos came to Earth and killed him and his family, and then he was reborn as Drax. Like, so it's the 60s Guardian stuff is fucking crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So they kept a little bit of that for the MCU. Like, there's the idea that Thanos killed his family and stuff like that, but there's none of the reincarnation. They seem to have diverted from that part of it, which I was kind of curious to know if they were going to use that. But yeah, this movie is just it's a lot of fun. Still holds up so damn well. And like I mentioned earlier, I literally had a smile on my face ear to ear. This is still probably in my top 10 MCU films.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I love this movie. This one and the second one, I love this property. Like, I love these characters. I love the whole premise, which I did say I was going to bring this up. So, James, James Gunn took inspiration from my favorite show of all time for the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a show that was late 90s, early 2000s called Farscape. And the whole thing is a human is transported to the other side of the galaxy. He takes up with a band of escaped prisoners, one of which is a female who used to be a bad guy. And there's a romance.
Interesting.
So it's like, and James Gunn said he was a fan of the show, and he I'm not throwing shade. He drew inspiration, and so like the fact that this is draws inspiration from my favorite fucking show of all time, I love this movie absolutely. Like the only reason it can never be like top 5 is because I don't have nostalgia for it. And all of this is for me. It's like Infinity War, I have nostalgia for, and Avengers, I have nostalgia for. But I didn't know them as a kid. But adult me, this is probably this is top 5.
Okay.
But like with the nostalgia factor, I don't have it. That's why it's only top 10. But I freaking love this movie.
And they also did a lot of interesting things with the cast. I guess we can start talking about the casting of this. Right off the bat. Oh wow, here we go. So Jada agrees with you.
Here we go.
This is a top 5 MCU film.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's a great flick.
One day we are going to get down to our rankings of the MCU.
I
know we talked about it forever, but we just haven't had really the right time to do it because at this point it's a huge task to take on.
Oh God, I'm going to have to hire an assistant to help me.
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Thanks, Jada. Love you too, man. Love you too. We can't
catch you, my friend.
If you're available, you can join us for Volume 3 in a couple of weeks, man. Just definitely, hit us up and let us know, man. Yeah, we'll get around to our MCU rankings, but I'll just right off the top of my head just throw it out. It's top 10 for me. It might be top 5. I mean, there's a chance when I really sit down and write it down, we'll figure it out.
Because it's just so much fun, from the soundtrack to like the fun tone of it, to the fact that like it's not taking itself too seriously, and that's what I love about it. But also it's not a throwaway. Like this is important to the Thanos story. This leads directly, like this weird, wild, fucking out of nowhere story leads directly to the Infinity Saga.
Yeah, and going into it, I know that like when it was first announced, I wasn't sure. Then once I started reading more about it, I'm like, all right, so there's a lot of Thanos connections here between Drax and Gamora. Obviously, those were direct connections to Thanos. So I'm like, things started becoming clearer to me before I saw the movie. And then, it happened, and you see this, and I'm pretty sure around the time I had, this is the first appearance of the of Josh Brolin Thanos.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, Josh Brolin Thanos makes his debut in this movie, and we technically did get Thanos before this, but that was totally like CGI.
That was
Thanos
a throwaway.
stuff, which I didn't say. Still rewatching the first Avengers, like, still looked pretty cool and was still mind blowing at the time. But like, we have an actor now.
The only thing is for that ruined Age of Ultron for me because they set Thanos up, and then I got Ultron, and I went, all right.
You hated Ultron. You hated Ultron before that.
For a while, I did. I've actually come to really like Ultron. I actually kind of dig the whole idea that like one of the smartest Avengers created one of the worst villains. So I don't have Ultron hate anymore, but like Thanos.
Yeah.
You don't promise me Thanos and give me Ultron. That's like promising me filet mignon and giving me a really good hamburger.
Fair enough. But yeah, so the cast of this, I mean, Chris Pratt pretty much, he gets his big jump from Parks and Rec, kind of like heavier guy to like jacked Chris Pratt that we know now. And now, he's still got the biggest movie in the world with his voice of Super Mario in that movie.
Didn't we just do the Super Mario Brothers last week? We doing back-to-back Chris Pratt?
Yeah, actually we are.
No.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago, yeah, because remember, we didn't have a movie last week.
Oh, we didn't have a movie. That's right, we didn't have a movie last week.
So,
okay.
Back-to-back movie Chris Pratt, though.
Okay. Welcome to Chris Pratt's Peach Tea. We can talk about Chris Pratt.
Yeah, he's he gets his thing now. He got the Jurassic Park. He took over Jurassic World. He's got that going. He's got a bunch of action movies, there too. So he gets his whole big jump with this. Zoe Saldana is in this too as Gamora. She's in everything sci-fi apparently at any point. So
yeah, I love her. She's a horror in the Star Trek franchise, the reboot franchise.
So yeah, that's right. Actually, I didn't even realize that.
So Eddie, I got a serious question. This is one of those hard-hitting questions that Rick likes to call us out for. Okay, serious question here. Would you have sex with Gamora? And I'm not talking Zoe Saldana in the makeup. I'm talking, would you have sex with a green-skinned alien who looked like Gamora if the parts aligned?
So we're going to assume the parts aligned. I guess this is where we're going.
I think we have to assume look. I think they do. She has sex with Quill. The parts align. We know they do. Yeah, I mean, we have textual evidence.
No, this is true because not in this movie, but eventually, we find out that they hook up and stuff. And I guess throughout comic book stuff, we do find out that parts align because Superman and Lois and whatever.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're all Terran-esque. So here's the question: would you have sex with a green-skinned alien, that looked like that was Gamora? She looks like Gamora.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm going to say so. We'll throw it there. There you go.
All right. I'm glad to hear that because I am from the Captain Kirk school of aliens.
I was going to say very Captain Kirk question right there.
Exactly. If there's grass on the field, it doesn't matter if there's grass on the body. It's fine as long as they're old enough.
Yeah, we'll just assume that's the case.
It's the Captain Kirk school of thought. That's all I'm just saying.
This is true, and apparently Quill has also. We find out he's been getting around in this universe.
Quill is getting it on with lots of aliens.
Very Captain Kirk of him.
Very there's a pink one in the beginning, right?
Yeah, there's a pink girl that he finds. He goes ahead and he's like, and when he goes to get the orb as it's called at that point, but we know it's the Power Stone that's hidden. And he has an alien that's there that is in his ship. He's like, oh shit, I forgot you're wearing my t-shirt right now.
I love that he takes a one-night stand on a mission, forgets that she's there. A mission, Absolutely. By the way, where he's double-crossing his pirate friends.
Yeah, so he knows there's going to be some shit hitting the fan at something like this. We got a couple of quick questions to get to here. Jader's asking, did you catch the Guardians Easter egg in Mario? It may be escaping me at this very moment, but I do recall there was something. And it's just, I'm drawing a blank right now. So if you want to drop in the comment section and give me a reminder, I know there was one and I am drawing a blank at the moment. Alex, dropping in here tonight. You guys ready for the Guardians F-bomb? Yeah, I saw that, but I've stayed away from it because I didn't want to hear what it was. So if there is, it's fine. I mean, it kind of makes sense with what the MCU's been doing. It seems like they're aiming towards more adult as time has gone on. So not totally surprised there as well. I mean, we've also had F-bombs and other comic book stuff over time that's not even R-rated. So
yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm ready for it. I mean, if anything is gonna push those boundaries of cursing, it's the Guardians, right? I mean, but as you said, I mean, people have done it before.
Yeah, it's been done over. And then we get also Dave Bautista as Drax, who I do love how the escalation of this is, he's Drax the Destroyer and stuff like that. And then once the whole thing is mentioned about something going over his head, he's like, no, my reflexes are too quick. I have to go in and catch it.
I love that part of his character is his people don't understand metaphor.
Yes.
I fucking love that so much. And it just, I never get bored with it in these movies. As you said, nothing. My reflexes are, I don't know. It's just it's so funny and it's such a great character moment. And it makes this, it gives Dave Bautista fun stuff to do. I mean, remember when we did on Double O Deep Dive, we did the James Bond movie he was in, and I was like, why aren't they giving this guy things to do? This movie goes, hey, yeah, he's a wrestler, but he can be funny, and menacing and can act. And I love that they find interesting stuff for him to do and allow him to be really funny in this movie.
Yeah, James Gunn definitely tapped into Dave Bautista's acting chops and stuff.
For sure.
No question, and it has kind of like helped his career blossom. And I know that things I've read, Bautista seems like he's kind of somewhat over the whole Drax thing at this point, where he's getting there, and that's fine. I mean, I get it. He's done, he's done the role many times now. So
yeah, I mean, look, it's the same thing when Robert Downey Jr. wants to walk away from Iron Man. It's like when you've been doing a role as an actor for a decade, and then you go, you know what? Maybe it's time I do some other things. It's like, no, you've done your due diligence, man. Dave Bautista has done his due diligence. He did 3 of these movies. He's been like Guardians movies. He's been in the other, crossover movies. He's done the specials. It's like the guy wants to go out and start a different, do some other stuff. And I think that's great. I mean, that's what actors should do. So I completely support him if he wants to move away from this role. Because again, like this role made him, and then he did his due diligence to it. And I think that's all that matters.
Oh. And then we get 2, I'm going to say very established actor, Bradley Cooper, voicing Rocket Raccoon at this point, even though don't call him Raccoon
Yes.
at any point, because he's going to get pretty pissed off about it. He's great as this. Yeah. He's
fantastic.
He's fantastic as Rocket, and not my favorite actor, Vin Diesel, but his voice is perfect for Groot.
I mean, but you know what? This is the one thing I'm going to say. It didn't need to be Vin Diesel. All he's like, this guy gets paid what, $20 million a fucking every time Groot shit something out, and all he did was one time loop I am Groot. I mean,
no, apparently he did a whole bunch of voice work for this.
What? Where?
I'm serious. That's what they've said over time. He's done a ton of voice work for this, and they've had to obviously synthesize it and do other things with it. But apparently, he did a decent amount of work on this.
I guess it's one line.
It's said in different inflections, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess give him his $20 million. I don't know. He was the only one that I was like, I don't know. That could have been anyone.
Well, they want a deep, raspy voice, I guess. Somewhat intimidating voice of some sort, I guess.
And I don't hate Vin Diesel, by the way. Like I don't like those Fast and Furious movies, but I actually really like him in the Riddick movies.
I don't know. Anything I've seen him in, I'm like, oh, God. He's, I don't know. I think he's pretty rough to watch. But whatever, I'll accept him in this, and that's fine. He's great.
I think I like him mostly because of the story of him getting Dame Judi Dench to play D&D with him, because he's a big D&D guy.
Yeah.
And so whatever movie he did with Dame Judi Dench, he got her to sit down and play a fucking campaign with him and his friends. And I think that alone makes me love him.
Oh, it's funny. He actually, I think he was in the neighborhood for a funeral, but when Burr worked at GameStop,
mm-hmm.
Vin Diesel came in one day around closing time.
What?
And he met him. He has a picture with him and everything.
That's wild. Was he nice?
Yeah, no, he said he was like the nicest dude in the world.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be super nice.
Like, I don't doubt that at all.
Another reason I can't hate him.
Yeah, I'm just talking about, listen, him on the screen. That's kind of what I'll leave it at that. I don't know.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
And
look, I have a lot of irrational hate, so you don't need to justify that to me.
This was a movie that also introduced Karen Gillan to essentially the world, who,
Not to me.
Really? So where did you know her before?
Doctor Who, baby. She was Amy Pond. I know her exclusively.
Okay.
She was for Whovians. She is one of the best new Who companions, and she did like a 5-year run on that show.
Oh, okay. So for those who are not familiar with Doctor Who, then
yes,
we'll just say that yes, this was our introduction to her.
She's great. I love her.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely awesome in this. Who else do we got here? Michael Rooker, who's Yondu. Michael Rooker.
Can I tell a Walter story real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Walter, friend of the show, he's been on the show. He's my co-teacher. He met Michael. He was dressed as Star-Lord at a Comic-Con. He met Michael Rooker.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, "Oh, Mr. Rooker, can I take a picture with you?" And he goes, "Yeah, get over here, boy." And he took a picture. And Walter walked away and he said, "I had to think, did he call me boy because I was dressed as Star-Lord or because I was black?" And I was like, I'd like to think it was because you were dressed as Star-Lord. He goes, "So would I. So let's just go on that."
I mean, I'm going to hope that that's the case as well. And if that being the case, staying in character of Yondu was extra points for him on that.
I'm sure that's the case. I don't do you know, have you ever seen his scariest role, Michael Rooker?
In what?
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, where he plays Henry. It's an 80s movie. He's really young. He plays Henry Lee Lucas, which is one of the more depraved serial killers of American history.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's crazy. He's really good at it, but it's scary.
I've known him from a lot of things over the years. I mean, I would say probably mainly this and Walking Dead.
Yeah, I liked him as Merle on Walking Dead.
Yeah, he was great in that. Also, we get Lee Pace as Ronan the Accuser, who a lot of people have knocked over time with like, hey, he's a forgettable throwaway villain and stuff. But I don't know. I like his role in this. Yeah, I mean, the MCU focuses on its heroes, not really its villains as much.
Yeah, I liked him. I think he's one of the better villains we've gotten so far, like at this point, right? At this movie's point. He's obviously a secondary villain. Thanos is pulling the strings. They make that very clear in the beginning. I like that his whole thing is that he's a religious zealot, and that he's like, bringing Lord Christ to the Kree, he's not like the strongest villain, but I don't think he's a bad villain. I mean, this is an ensemble movie. I mean, you got so many people. You got 2 villains and 5 heroes, and plus Karen Gillian, because we don't know what she is. She's sometimes a villain, sometimes she's not. Like,
yeah,
so it's like, what would they want this to be? A 4-hour movie with a whole backstory for Ronan the Accuser? He's a fucking religious zealot. Let it go at that. That's all we need.
Yeah, who we also see in Captain Marvel as well, because he does come back for that, said in a different time.
I forgot that he does. Yeah, that's right. I forgot that she thrashes him.
We also get our good friend Jamon Hansu as Karath the Pursuer.
Yes.
It was always great to see him, and he's also got scenes, especially when in the beginning when he first sees Star-Lord, and then and Quill drops his Star-Lord. Who? Star-Lord, man, come on.
I love that he thinks everyone should know who he is, and they just don't.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. It's a running gag that goes on. We get Benicio del Toro as the Collector.
He is phenomenal. I love him as the Collector.
Yeah, his turn in the MCU was much better than his turn in Star Wars.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
Yeah.
And the Collector is one of those characters I actually did know of and have weird nostalgia for, because again, as I've said 100,000 times, I was obsessed. My favorite comic as a kid was the Infinity Gauntlet series, like that 6-issue run, and I loved it so much that I found this 2 or 3 issue run called Thanos Quest, which was the prequel to the Infinity War, how he gets all of the Infinity Stones for the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And the Collector is in it. He tricks the Collector out of, I forget which one. Maybe it's the Power one. I don't remember. But so I know a bunch of these weird space titans from that. And so I have this weird, I saw Benicio as the Collector. I'm like, oh, I kind of love the Collector.
And I completely forgot until I just rewatched, because I rewatched it actually later this afternoon, was Glenn Close as Nova Prime. I totally forgot she was in this movie.
Because you don't think Glenn Close is going to be an MCU movie, but here she is, and she's great.
Yeah, and John C. Reilly is in this as well. He's got a lot of great scenes in this. Yeah, he even cues up the, he's kind of like your friends, the Guardians, through most of it.
Well, and I love that, because at first he's like against them, and then when they come and they save the day, they literally save his wife and daughter. And he knows that. And so then he kind of like warms up to them. Like, I love that. It's an awesome moment.
Yeah. We do get a Stan Lee cameo in this, a very brief one as well. It's funny how, looking back on it now, like there's, you see the movies different now that Stan Lee has passed, and you see every time I see a cameo of him, I'm like, warms my heart here to see him again. And also one thing I was really interested in, because obviously if you're watching this, you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy before, movies been out for a bit, is the whole thing with the Power Stone and Xandar. So good, because of what we know now, what ends up happening. So
doesn't Thanos destroy Xandar to get the Power Stone?
Yes. So my thought was this. So I was like, wait a second. So the Guardians go ahead. They, they're on Xandar. They get arrested and stuff like that. And Ronan pretty much gets his hands on the Power Stone. And he goes ahead, and his whole thing was he was going to destroy Xandar with the Power Stone and use it and bring, and go in and bring the shit to them at the end of the movie. And they end up, the Guardians save the day, give the Power Stone to the Nova Corps, and that's where it's being protected, and that's what ends up getting the whole planet slaughtered by Thanos eventually.
Yeah, no, that is a pretty that's sad. But like, what else could they have done? Like, that was the best decision they could have made at the time.
No, I'm not knocking it, but it was just I'm gonna quote William Shatner in Airplane 2 again, and just say irony can be pretty ironic sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was just my thought of it now. It's funny because now just watching the movies after we know all the shit that happens in this, I thought that was just an ironic thing.
Looking back, but I think that's super cool that we can look back and go, oh shit, well, they saved it only to doom it by giving them the
exactly
the Power Stone.
It is cool seeing like Quill and Gamora, their whole first, almost kiss and stuff like that. And that's where she drops one of my favorite lines in the movie is, I'm not going to go for your pelvic sorcery.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Which is awesome.
Gets me every single time. I thought that was great.
And also reminiscent of a line from the show Farscape, where he is, where the main character, the human, is flirting with and about to kiss the woman who is with the enemy but now runs with them, and she's into it like Gamora is, but she's hesitant, and she pulls away and she's like, I will not be made a victim of your human instincts, and like waltzes away. So I'm just saying, if you like this movie, take a look at Farscape. It's a good show.
And then we get also the semi post-credit scene that introduced the insanity that is Baby Groot. And yes, I had this right after the movie came out. So it used to play music, and now it doesn't. Or it used to, I don't know, I haven't turned it on in a while. No, that's it. It's just sounds reacting now, so it just starts dancing.
All right. I think it's cool.
Yeah. And also, this movie gave birth to my pop obsession, because the first pop I ever bought was Groot.
Oh, nice.
From this movie. Yeah. It
that
kind
is
of
super cool.
Spawned the whole thing that was that off of that.
That is super cool. I have to admit that I love when MCU movies end with the good guys out thinking the bad guys, not necessarily out punching them. Mm-hmm. And I love that's why I love the Doctor Strange movies. But I love that this ends with Quill just going like, and the Ronan's like, what are you doing? He's like, causing a distraction.
Yeah, dance off.
It's just so funny. Like, he doesn't necessarily outthink him; he out crazies him. I'm just gonna do a dance off. And Ronan, who's like the stone cold killer, is so confused. Like, what the fuck are you doing, my boy?
The other things too that were set up in this is so we get Cosmo the space dog. That's introduced.
Yes, I forgot we got him in this.
Yeah, so did I actually. And so that pays off eventually. He's supposed to be in Volume 3 a decent amount too, and he was also seen in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. There's the Howard the Duck is introduced into the MCU proper being voiced by Seth Green in the actual proper post-credit scenes of this movie.
Which I love. Give me a Howard the Duck special. I don't need a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a special.
Yeah, I can see.
Put Leah Thompson in it.
Just for shits and giggles?
Just look, I'm not saying make them have sex. We've already seen that. Just put her in it so you know, it's a nod. Who doesn't love Leah Thompson? She was Marty McFly's dad.
Dad.
Mom. She was Marty McFly's mom.
Oh man. And also the other things that were introduced in this. Shit. There's something I'm really spazzing on here as well. There's we got the big things. I feel like there was something else that was introduced and set up in this, but either way, it'll pop in if it's actually important. But back to the soundtrack. The soundtrack, man, is arguably the best in the MCU. I mean, the only real competition would have is Black Panther.
Agreed.
For a full soundtrack.
Agreed. It's a fantastic soundtrack. Like, I was watching this last night. I was so happy just with the music and like, and it starts like I kind of like, I put James Gunn up there with Quentin Tarantino with like concerning filmmakers who really know how to use music effectively in their films. Mm-hmm. You know, because these songs, like in Tarantino movies, it's not just that they're there. They have a purpose. They set a mood. And like this movie opens with hey, hey. And if you're not like watching him like sort of do his dancing and like, you know, catching the man-eating like creature that he catches and uses in a microphone, like if you're not having fun at that moment, like what are you doing watching these movies? Like that, it just opens up and it uses the music to be so much fun. And it continues to do that throughout. And the fact that the soundtrack is actually kind of like a character because it's his connection to his mother, right? Yeah. Like this soundtrack that he's listening to is the soundtrack his mother gave him before she died and he got abducted from Terran. So it's like this music is in itself a character. And I think that's such a cool use of a soundtrack.
And at the end of the movie, when he finally opens up the gift, that was wrapped up. It says Guardians. It says, you know, it's pretty much volume 2, and that gives birth to the, you know, the volume and volume 2 and volume 3 titles that we get for the following Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So that was pretty cool. Yep, Rick is not going to go ahead. He is definitely the eagle eye. What if she was his head?
She could have been. I don't know, man. I don't judge. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Ego would be his mom then.
Well, no, I mean, I think we're talking about like if Marty McFly.
Oh, Marty McFly. Oh, well,
yeah,
if she was his dad, then George would be his mom, and well, he never would have been born.
Yeah, things would have got
female George McFly.
Yeah, things would have got a little complicated.
Yeah, female George McFly. I don't trust that guy. That girl. Sorry.
Yes. All right. So, I mean, anything else on Guardians? I mean, obviously, we're just going to wax poetically about this thing.
Yeah, do I have anything else on Guardians? I guess not. I really enjoy it. I think it's a great movie. I think the cast is fantastic. I think Rocket's great. I think Bradley Cooper's great. I might actually, I might start an Alias rewatch talking about Bradley Cooper.
Okay.
A friend of mine who I've been watching How I Met Your Mother with, like we watch and then text each other. We were hanging out over the weekend. She was like, "Hey, you ever watch Alias?" I'm like, "Yes, I did, and I could rewatch it." Mm-hmm. So I might be doing an Alias rewatch. Love Bradley Cooper. Good to see Dave Bautista. I kind of love watching wrestlers make their bones in acting now, especially when they deserve it. Love Zoe Saldana. I think she's fantastic. And if I didn't answer before, I would 100% have sex with an alien, even if the parts didn't match up. Just saying.
Okay.
You gotta do what you gotta do. No, we can't kink shame here. And yeah, I love everything about this movie. I love the dance off, and I love that it sets up like Tim. Let's do it. Let's do it. I love that it sets up when he grabs the stone. and it doesn't kill him, and they just go, oh, okay, well, I guess friendship power. But it's like, no, this pays off in the next one. There's a reason he could hold the stone, and I don't know, I just super cool. It's a great movie.
Yeah, no,
Love it.
there's no things that are set up that are not paid off. At least immediately in the next movie.
And watching it, knowing what I know about the second movie, like, yeah, Yondu is really easy on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't pick it up the first time I watched this movie. I was always like, oh, well, you know, yeah, I guess, because he's just trying to get this or get that. But it's like, no, you could. James Gunn put in this script Yondu's fatherly affection for Quill. It's evident if you watch it knowing it's there. And I think that's really cool, too. It's like, even something that I didn't see the first time was setting up a relationship in the second one. And again, that's James Gunn. He's a very talented writer and director.
Yeah. No, he definitely has things planned out ahead of time, or at least if he didn't, he'll go ahead and like seems to very tie up all of any potential loose ends like immediately in the next film. So I'm really fascinated to see what's going to happen with Volume 3 with a lot of things that are going on. We'll talk about that more next week when we talk about Volume 2, because that'll get us a little bit closer to that. And then obviously things that happened in Avengers Endgame and Infinity War will be, in Volume 3 as well, since that's, the Guardian story has continued past Volume 2.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, they were even in Thor Love and Thunder. They shouldn't have been, but they were.
They had to tie up that loose end, essentially, because that Endgame setup.
Well, did you see the thing where Gunn said that I appreciated that Taika Waititi took the bullet for me because I was not going to put the good Thor in my Guardians movie?
No, and I saw that. Yeah, he's like, dude, there's no way that was going to happen. And there's a part of me that did want to see as Guardians of the Galaxy, like for an entire movie, but it didn't happen.
Been fun, but
don't really care.
It's all right.
Yeah, not really essential. So, all right, so that pretty much wraps it up for us this week. Thanks for tuning in as always. If you're joining us on Facebook, be sure to check out the Granny's Peach Tea Facebook group and check out the trailers and stories that we share on a daily basis that don't make the show every week. There are plenty of those. Be sure to check out Pop Culture Pros Facebook group as well, with all the cool stuff that is on there from the website. There are also ticket giveaways, and I know there were some for Volume 3, so just not New York, because
Never New York.
I've been on Farachi's butt about that since we started this thing, so one day, sir, one day.
Farachi, I saw Renfield yesterday, and I paid for it. Why couldn't you have gotten me tickets, damn it?
Ah, man, old man yelling at a cloud.
Old man yells at cloud.
Go ahead and check us on YouTube. Hit subscribe to Pop Culture Pros on Twitter. Follow at Pop Culture Pros. Instagram, do the thing where you check out Pop Culture Pros, and wherever you found your audio-only podcast, subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. Plenty of cool stuff on here. We will be back next week with a full plate of stuff on our show. We'll be talking about Gotham Knights. We'll be talking about Superman and Lois. We'll be talking about The Flash, and it's the Oliver Queen episode, so I'm genuinely excited for The Flash this week. I'm praying that the bed doesn't get shit. Titans, episode 10 of Titans will be dropping, and we'll be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 as we continue our countdown to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is almost here. Jason, any updates on Double O Deep Dive? Are you guys back this week? Not back this week?
I'm still working on it. And it's not on Ginny, it's on me. I've just been like, my son was sick all week, and so hopefully it just couldn't happen. I'm gonna reach out to Ginny tonight or tomorrow, see if she can do Wednesday, and if she can, I'll post something on Facebook. But yeah, I'm looking to get it through. I at least need to finish this deep dive into the 007 world.
Then you can take your time, man. Then you're off the clock. You can come back whenever you need to for the next one.
Exactly. But yeah, so I'll be posting on the Facebook page if we're coming back this week. Hopefully we will.
Okay. I will say, if you are into the New York Yankees, Lisa and I will be back with a new episode of Empire 161 this Wednesday at 7:00. So maybe me and Jason doubleheader on separate shows. Who knows? Wow. We might have that. We shall see. If you're into the Mets, you can check out the Put It in the Book show as well with Farachi and Rodriguez and Keith. on that show, Unsportsmanlike Conduct. And, check out our boy Don on Am I on the Air? So a lot of cool stuff on the network to check out. And we will see you next week. So peace.